The former England rugby captain Matt Dawson has told 5 News tonight he's had to have several heart operations after contracting Lyme disease. Matt made 77 appearances for England and continued to train regularly, keeping himself fit and healthy. But he's speaking out now to try his awareness of the dangers of Lyme disease, which he contracted after simply going for a walk in a London park last year. I spoke to Matt earlier on. I began by asking him when he first realised what was going on.
It's been a tough couple of years. I contracted Lyme disease from a tick, a couple of years ago, it does seem a long time ago now. But thankfully, through having some great medical attention over the years and monitoring and being very disciplined with my recovery, it's got significantly better.
People might be aware of ticks. They might have seen them on their dog if they've been running through long grass in the countryside, or they might know them as sheep ticks. I had no idea that they could be so dangerous to human beings.
Yeah, and part of the reason, I didn't really, truth be told, I didn't really want to sort of do the whole public thing about my ailments. I spoke to you a while ago about my son Sammy being poorly with meningitis, but then I read a piece about ticks on animals, and then the Big Tick project, which I'm part of, sort of connects the two, because we spend loads of times with our pets, our dogs particularly, who pick up a lot of ticks. The analysis that those guys did, it's the University of Bristol, MSD, Chris Packham, who's a naturalist as well.
Yes, yeah.
The results came back that 1 in 3 dogs have ticks. Now, that's a huge statistic, and it gets lost a little bit actually. But when you then connect it with, well, I've picked up a tick, which probably came off a dog, rested for a little bit in the park where I was training, jumped onto me. It then bit me.
And you didn't even notice that it had done that?
No idea whatsoever. The tick has, given me Lyme disease. It's got into my heart, created an infection. All of a sudden, my heart's not functioning properly. I've got to have 2 surgeries over a year. And, this just escalates really, really quickly from this tiny little tick that was probably on an animal previously.
And let's be clear, it's a small proportion of the ticks carry the bacteria that can cause these kind of problems. But either way, you don't want to get bitten by one. So what should you be doing if you've been out with the dogs, perhaps with the kids running around the countryside?
Yeah, there are lots of ticks carry lots of different diseases and lots of quite bad diseases. But there are 2 answers to that. You got a dog. You go to the vet and you get a prescribed medication for the prevention of ticks. They could be the little sort of dab-on, spot-ons, collars, chewables. They can last up to 12 weeks.
Okay.
So
it's preventative.
Your dog is covered and prevented. Preventative measures for your kids, for you. When you go for a walk, you're playing a game of golf, you're doing your sport, you train, whatever you're doing. When you get home, you just you look at yourself. When you have a shower, you check yourself down. You got anything in the joints?
Because it could be latched onto you somewhere, and you wouldn't even
behind
notice.
Your ears, or I haven't got hair, but if you had hair, it could be lodged away, or that sort of stuff. So there's the preventive measure. If either your dogs or you have ticks, you must take them off properly.
So you don't just pull them off because they can leave their innards behind,
The
right?
burning, covering them in Vaseline or special spirit, none of that works. It's an absolute wives' tale. You've got to get a proper tool or sharp pair of tweezers, go right to the base, twist and pull.
So you have to twist to
twist
pull them
and
out.
pull with this special little hook, tick hook.
Yeah.
And my recommend, I'm no medic here, but that is then it's straight to either your vet or to your GP. And in my case, it was go and get a blood sample, realised it was a tick. I felt pretty poorly.
And chances are, if you spot it early on, you're going to avoid going through the nightmare that you've had.
Yeah. I was, I left it a little bit too long, probably a month too long, and that could well have been the opportunity for it to get into my heart. If you know you've been bitten by a tick, you get to your GP, you get a blood test, and you deal with it straight away.
Look, I know you said we've talked about other things like meningitis before, and you were reluctant to put yourself at the centre of this, but it's vitally important, and it's stuff that a lot of us, even if you grew up in the countryside like I did, weren't really aware of or how to get rid of them. So Really appreciate you coming in to talk about it today.
Absolute pleasure, no problem.
Thanks, Matt. Good to see you.